What the deal, everybody? Welcome to the Too Rich to Miss podcast live show. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about cryptocurrency and the market. We're going to be talking about DeFi. We're going to be talking about sushi. And we're going to be talking about guinea pigs. That's right. Let's go.
The Too Rich to Miss podcast.
All right, y'all. Welcome to the Too Rich to Miss live show. Right now, we are going to jump right into it and go right in and talk about the markets. As you can see here, looking right over at everything, we are in the green for the most part, which is always a wonderful thing. I've been telling everybody that the market is on sale. We're in the green today. A lot of stuff is in the green. But if you look over here in these Ethereum tokens, we got some red over here as well. The market is still on sale. A lot of good projects out here are underpriced and on sale. A lot of projects are underpriced and on sale. I am purposely circling Ethereum. I am in the camp of one of the people that think that Ethereum is underpriced, and I'll tell you why I think Ethereum is underpriced. You see everything in this block right over here, and then going all off into all of these. They're not all, but Ethereum has a shit ton of tokens that are built on top of it, and that are built using under that ERC20 protocol and platform. So there's a ton of stuff on top of Ethereum. Ethereum is a platform that I just think is so engulfed and ingrained into the DeFi, the decentralized finance market, that is, and once they get through these growing pains, it's going to be insane what I think the price of this will eventually be over time. But once again, I believe I'm a DCA type of guy, and I'm a long-term type of guy. I think this is in its infancy, and granted, a lot of these things aren't going to be totally held the whole time. You have to manage your risk accordingly. But if you're getting in here right now, this is a great time to be in this market. Very, very early in this market. All of my older people in my 35 to 44 crowd, think about when the internet was in its dial-up stage. Everybody remember, all of us in that, my 25-year-old crowd, some of the people in my 30 to 35-year-old crowd might be able to remember some of that. But the internet used to be extremely slow, and all of these things that we're doing even right now with you watching this YouTube video. And speaking of YouTube videos, be sure to follow me on YouTube at Too Rich to Miss on YouTube, and also be sure to follow me on Twitter at Too Rich to Miss on Twitter, and also on Instagram at Too Rich to Miss on Twitter as well. Now, we just weren't able to do all of these things, and the cryptocurrency market right now and blockchain technology is in those early phases. We're seeing it, and we know it can do some wonderful things, but it's going through some growing pains right now. All right, y'all, let's talk about DeFi for a minute here. DeFi Pulse is showing that the total value locked in the decentralized finance market right now is about 8.64 billion. As you can see, we were going down. Value was up to almost 10 billion, dropped down to about 6, and looks like we're making a recovery here. And AAVE dominance about 17%. And if you haven't looked into AAVE or AAVE, depending on what you want to call it, they are doing some wonderful things that we're going to be talking about, briefly talking about them. They are one of the examples that I want to talk about when it comes to DeFi. And speaking of DeFi, and as we're talking about this, let's go ahead on and talk about AAVE really quickly. Now, AAVE is one of these platforms, is one of these protocols that I think is going to be around for, projects is a better way to say it, that I think is actually going to be around for a while. They are, as this article states, and you can go through and check this out. It'll be on my Twitter feed as well, Too Rich to Miss on Twitter. But this is what we're talking about. We're talking about projects that actually have a real use case, that actually are going to be here once all of this nonsense and this BS kind of goes away. Which brings me over to sushi. Because see, what we don't want to do is we don't want to find ourselves caught up in one of these things that ends up being a rug pull. Kind of like this one over here when we're talking about these people. I mean, these guys, stuff like this is unfortunately going to happen. They left with 20 million. It's not funny, but but on the same token, we have to be extra careful, and we have to make sure that we're getting out there doing our own research. That's why I will say DYOR a lot on this channel when I'm talking about these things, because it's very important for the sake of your capital. For the sake of capital preservation, you want to make sure that you do research into these companies so that you don't end up on the bad side of something like this. This only happened after 2 days. And then you got projects like AAVE that are actually doing things right, and that is going to be probably more than likely. I mean, obviously I don't know, but they're going to be around for a while. Now, sushi. What does sushi have to do with anything? Now, sushi was a project that I spoke about one time before, and I didn't have the exact amount. I thought it was 6 million, but turns out it was about 14 million. And then he comes out, and this article is on the 11th. The recording of this video was recorded on the 15th. But look at this. Now, all of a sudden, he comes out, I fucked up. And he returns the $14 million in developer funds. Now, I haven't gone through and read this whole article, but this is one of those things where we're not going to speculate, but I'm just going to, and I'm just using this, I'm going to just let your imagination just run wild with the yeah. But I'm only bringing this up to reiterate and reinforce the fact and the importance of doing your own research, because these projects that, and granted, I'm not saying that this one is a scam or whatever, because it's still, and I'm not saying it's a scam or anything like that. I'm just saying be careful with these projects. Reason being, this is the 14-day chart. You can see what's happened to this project in 14 days, and obviously so, with all of the press that's been going on around this project. And we have to be very careful when we're dealing with these projects. If you're going to be jumping into some of these more risky projects that are these low cap gems, and some of these other projects that you might see some of these other YouTubers talk about, hey, the market is on sale, yes. It's possible to get some great deals, yes. But a lot of these coins, quite frankly, are shit coins. A lot of these projects aren't going to end up into anything. Some of these coins don't even have a project in at all. So once again, it's important to do your own research to make sure that what you're investing in is something that you actually, that's going to be here. And if you do have a high risk tolerance, and you're going to be dabbling around in some of these other things that are a little bit more risky, then, if you're going to be dabbling in things that are a little bit more risky, then you want to make sure that you handle yourself accordingly, because you don't want to be on the other end of getting in a project that vanishes after 2 days after the launch. So you want to definitely be very, very careful. And meanwhile, while all of this is going on, and I'm saying be very careful, you wonder what the smart money is doing, or what bigger money is doing. MicroStrategy, which I've talked about MicroStrategy before, and once again, without even going deep into the article, because I like to try to keep these videos short, MicroStrategy tells the SEC it may increase its $250 million Bitcoin reserves. I want to just point out a couple things that I really want to point out a couple things right here. The business intelligence company told the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on Monday it may increase, quote unquote, its Bitcoin holdings beyond the $250 million haul purchased in August. That blockbuster buy transformed much of MicroStrategy's cash reserves into Bitcoin, placing the NASDAQ-traded firm among Wall Street's most notable Bitcoin bulls. Now, I want to ask you something. I want you to think about something. This company that's publicly traded has transformed much of their cash reserves into Bitcoin. We'll just think about that on your own. Not financial advice. I'm just, just pointing out a fact. Something to think about. They've transformed much of their cash reserves into Bitcoin. I'm just saying. I talk about these things because it's a wonderful opportunity. Bitcoin is being more and more recognized as digital gold. And this market is very young and very early. It hasn't gotten all of its legs and learned how we still got a lot of nonsense that's over here. And we want to make sure that we are careful so that we jump on the projects that are good and stay away from the ones that are going to get us wrecked. Now, I said all of that to say be careful and get this money out here. But in the midst of getting this money, preserve your capital, manage your risk. Not financial advice, just common sense. Manage your risk and make sure that you take profits off, and especially if you're dealing with some of these crazy things. Until the next time, thank you so much for checking out the video. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It looks like 97% of the people that are looking at these videos aren't subscribers. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll get you some more positive content out here on a more frequent basis to balance the conversation. The Too Rich to Miss live show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
The Too Rich to Miss podcast.